Good morning. Lee County Board of County Commissioners Zoning and Comprehensive Planning hearing will convene. If we could rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Let's go to case number 1. Wonderful.
Good morning, Commissioners. For the record, my name is Beth Workman. I'm a principal planner in the zoning section. The first case before you today is Pine Island Road Commercial Plan Development. Staff is asking the board to remand this back to the hearing examiner because the advertisement does not match the square feet as to what was approved. So we need to remand it back to the hearing examiner so that can be re-advertised correctly.
Okay.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second it. Motion is second. Any public comment?
Well, I guess it's really probably just participants at that point, since it's a zoning.
I'm sorry. Thanks, Commissioner Hammond. Sarah Decker? Jason Harper? Neither here. Bring it back up to the commission. Any other discussion? Anyone opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Case number 2.
The next case is Royal Palm Multifamily Residential Plan Development. This case is DCI 2023-00049. The request is to rezone 19.33 acres from Mobile Home Conservation Residential District to Residential Plan Development to allow 391 multifamily dwelling units with amenities, including 136 units of bonus density. It is in the Central Urban Future Land Use category. The applicant did provide an MCP, master concept plan, that showed the layout of the multifamily. The hearing examiner recommended approval. There were 9 participants of record.
Any questions? Does the applicant want to make a presentation?
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Board. For the record, Jenna Persons-Malika of the law firm Strayhorn, Persons-Malika and Fisher. On behalf of the applicant, Flerney Development Group, it's a pleasure to be here this morning, and Commissioner Pendergrass, congratulations on your recognition last evening. Before you today, we have a rezoning. I just want to correct for the record that in August, this might look familiar to you because in August you did approve the CPA that changed the future land use to intensive development. We have a team here today, including Fred Drovlik from RVI Planning and Landscape Architecture, and Elizabeth Fountain from J.R. Evans Engineering, and Ted Treesh from TR Transportation Consultants to answer any questions. In addition, on behalf of the applicant, we have Cooper Reese and Joel Mize from Florney Development Group. I also want to say a special thank you to all of the residents from Royal Palm Village who are here today for the hearing. Thank you for being here. You all may recognize this property pre-development. It was a mobile home community for many, many years. And I personally recall after Hurricane Ian driving through that community and seeing the absolute devastation. So we are sorry for the loss of all the residents, and we appreciate you being here today. It's under contract to be sold to my client for redevelopment, a transitional redevelopment between commercial and residential for a multifamily community is compatible. This is exactly what we need here, and also will bring workforce housing units to this area. We're here to answer any questions, but I am going to ask Mr. Drovlik to come up and do a short presentation to you. We're in full agreement with the hearing examiner's recommendation, including the conditions set forth therein, and Mr. Dravlik's just going to address a little bit about the project as well as the conditions that we put or have agreed to that resulted from concerns brought forth by some of the neighboring residents.
Great, thank you.
Well, good morning, Commissioners. Fred Dravlik from RVI Planning. Jenna covered some of what I was going to say, but I do want to get to the point of that this was brought to you as really an urban infill development. It's in an employment center, and it was zoned, for a mobile home park in a coastal high hazard area, a very low-lying coastal high hazard area, which is why it flooded. We think this is a great reuse of that parcel to build workforce housing with a sustainable building in a location where people can get to transit, get to parks, get to pedestrian walkways, and have great access for evacuation routes and major arterials. So the residents, I'll get to the residents of the Henry Creek subdivision to the south did bring up some concerns at the hearing examiner, and as we reached out to them, light and noise and traffic were some of the concerns that are pretty typical, and we understood some of these. So at the hearing examiner, we offered some new conditions that would limit the impacts of that. One would be that there was limited hours on the amenities. So there's on the south side next to the creek, there is a small dog park and a pickleball. It's set back a decent ways from the water, but I mean still that noise and light travels. So we offered a dawn to dusk restriction on the use of those, and then the no lighting on any of the amenities. So there's no options for that to be lit in the evening hours. We also reduced the stories of the building from 5 to 4 in response to the concerns about sight lines and things from their home. From the nearest house across the creek, the distance is between 350 and 550 feet, depending on the house, to see, to the building. So it's a decent ways. You could see maybe over some trees and things, you might be able to see some of the upper floor, but it's a decent ways away. As you can see on the site plan, the buildings are central against the water, and then there's a 50-foot natural buffer way, the required parking, and then the closest building. But we did lower the height of that, or the stories of that, in order to reach a compromise. There's also some questions from the property to the west. In fact, I was just talking to them before the meeting about Old Gladiolus, and are we opening that up, and what's the traffic going to look like from 41? Is people going to use that as a cut through because that area gets busy? Old 41 or Old Gladiolus will not be opened up. We are not seeking that, and at no point were we seeking that, so it will stay as is. We are seeking a right-in, right-out on US 41 so that traffic can not use exclusively Old Gladiolus, and that is in process with FDOT and looking favorable. And the access there is gated, so there will be no cut-through use of people to use the right-in, right-out through the apartment complex to go on Old Gladiolus as well. So the traffic on there will obviously increase slightly based on the density of the apartment complex, but no other cross-through traffic will happen from US 41 to Gladiolus Road using Old Gladiolus. So those were the main concerns that we heard and we tried to respond to. We agree with the hearing examiner's recommendation of approval and their conditions, and we're hoping for approval for today to culminate the long process that we've gone through and get this thing built. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have 9 participants. Janet Bly.
Hi, my name is Janet Bly. I've lived in Royal Palm Village since 2000. It's a great community. We had access to Lakes Park. We had, you've got the shopping centers, you've got Bell Tower. Change happens. Nobody likes change. Ian dealt us a blow, and you know, for my husband and I, we expected to retire, we did retire there. And because of income, it was a great little community. But like I said, change happens, and I think we all have to accept it. We want to move on. It's been 2 years. I don't know what else I can say, so. But thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Robin Campbell? Is Robin here? No? Gregory Dudek? Thomas Estrella? Eric Farmer?
My name is Eric Farmer. I was a resident of Royal Palm Villages. My wife and I did retire from the Midwest down there. It was a great place to live. A lot of good people. We had good neighbors all around us too. We didn't have really any trouble, and we appreciate it. But as Janet said, this has gone on 2 years. I know it takes time to get all this done. I want to thank everybody that's been involved in trying to move this project forward. It's a big effort, and we appreciate that. But thank you very much for your consideration to our proposal, and we hope that you will agree with the hearing examiner and approve this project. Thank you.
Thank you. Tim Kendall? Tim Kendall? Tom Loudon?
My name is Tom Lowen. I was a resident at Royal Palm Village. All I can tell you is what has happened to me. We were in our forever home. We retired there. Now I'm moved to a house away from Fort Myers. I love Fort Myers, but we had to leave. Now I have a mortgage that I was free of before. It's difficult. I'm on a fixed income. So now I'm in a gated community up there. It's more expensive to live in a gated community, but the reason there is I got my family, my brother and sister live in the community, so I'm back with family. Again, thank you. I hope this goes through. I'll be able to live a little bit better, I hope, money-wise. So anyways, that's about all I get. All I can tell you is what happened to me is my life experience. Right, thank you.
Thank you. Rod Pickett?
No comment.
Thank you. Zachary Schenkel? Okay. I'll close participants, bring it back up to the commission.
I had a quick question. Fred, if I could, Fred, come to the back podium for a second. You talked about access to 41. We had talked about this a couple of years ago for this project, and thank you for being patient and being here for the last couple of years. I'm sorry to hear of your losses, and hopefully we'll get you back home and hopefully improve your life a little bit better. Access to 41, I know that's something we thought was really critical, so you can get out to 41 instead of having to go down through Gladiolus to that 5 o'clock traffic. Where are you at with that now as far as FDOT goes?
So Ted is here and can get to the real nitty-gritty details, but we obviously asked him about that, figuring this would come up. So the permit has been in for quite a while, where they've gone around 2 rounds of comments back to us about that. They're asking for a lot of detail, and you never feel great about FDOT until it's actually given to you, but we feel pretty good about it. It's a matter of working through the process and completing the process versus it getting denied.
Okay, great.
At no point have they said we aren't going to get that. They've just asked for a lot of information and data and design.
Great. Okay, thank you. I just want to say thank you to all the residents for showing up here today, and thank you for your patience. It's nice to have people here thanking us and ask us to get something approved, because usually we have the other thing. You see how slow government works sometimes. Is the theory of we paving everything's building too fast. This just shows you there is a process in place and it works. So,
I just had one additional question. It is on the plan itself, is the one ingress and egress point. Is that correct? As I saw on the plan here.
Yes, sir. There's one ingress egress, and there was a deviation that was granted for that one ingress egress.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. I move the hearing examiner's recommendation for approval.
I'll second it.
No.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Any opposition? Motion carries unanimously. On to the next item.
I can't wait there.
I generally don't have that happen.
Yeah. It'd be nice if it was always there.
Yeah.
I'm going to give them a chance
You know why?
to file out.
They're victims.
I know.
Have you seen that place lately?
I have.
Nothing left. That was always underwater, usually.
But that's by far the first I've been with that many people reporting. Listen, good things happen after 4 years.
There you go.
Thank God
That's
for us.
great.
Thank goodness for our kids.
Congratulations.
You might get some coffee up there, okay, Brian?
Maybe. We'll have to see.
8 to 10. That's what I was telling you about that. That's what I was talking about last night. They were doing a morning downstairs at 8 o'clock. I got there late.
They have a glazed donut. Can you close that door?
Christine grabbed me a strawberry at first. I'm like, no, that's one place.
Let's do it.
Wonderful.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate your time today. For the record, Joe Saraceno from the Planning Section, introducing CPA 2023-00010, PSR 40. This is a privately initiated small-scale amendment, so it's before the board for adoption today. This is an amendment to change approximately 38 acres from open lands and wetlands to central urban and wetlands, as well as an amendment to Table 1B to provide acreage allocation for the residential development in the central urban future land use category within the Burnt Store Planning District. These amendments allow for higher intensity development within a growing corridor. The existing future land use map is on the left, and the proposed future land use map is on the right. Subject properties on Burnt Store Road, approximately 1 mile south of the Charlotte County line. Directly north of this property is another property that was before the board to make a similar change in 2023 that was adopted by the board. This property has levels of public services that support high densities and intensities, and similar changes are being made in Cape Coral and Charlotte County on either side of this corridor that we have in Lee County. In the city of Cape Coral, they adopted a measure increasing the intensity of the future land use categories along Burnt Store Road. This future land use category is written into the Cape Coral plan and has been adopted by Cape Coral. There was a vote planned for September 18th to adopt the map to go along with the future land use category. However, that item was withdrawn on that date. In discussion with Cape Coral staff, the intent is to bring that item back due to some procedural issues with the legal descriptions of the properties that were included. Charlotte County has been discussing potential changes to the zoning map or to the comprehensive plan to provide for greater intensity along Burnt Store Road and bring more services out to those residents. The majority of the lands within Lee County along Burnt Store Road are publicly owned conservation lands, so there's not many parcels that are within our jurisdiction that are open to changes such as this. And Burnt Store Road also is planning on being widened by Florida Department of Transportation in the near future. Most recent information we've received from the Florida Department of Transportation is that the design phase of this north section of the road improvements is expected to be completed by the end of 2024. Sewer, water, solid waste, fire, EMS, and police and school capacity are available to serve the subject property consistent with Objective 2.2. This amendment is consistent with Goal 5, which promotes residential development in appropriate locations, properties outside of the coastal high hazard area, and is in FEMA flood zone X shaded. The changing conditions in transportation facilities and the surrounding municipalities support the proposed amendment. And amendments to Table 1B provide for the residential acreage to support this project and other projects within the Burnt Store Road future land use category, consistent with policy 1.6.5. In conclusion, public services are available for the subject property proposed amendment is consistent with changing conditions of the area. The request is consistent with the LEAP plan. The amendment supports appropriate allocations of anticipated population growth, and staff and the LPA both recommend adoption of the proposed amendment.
Thank you. Any questions? Any public comment? Seeing none, I'll close public comment.
I'll move approval, Mr. Chairman, of the staff and the LPA's recommendation.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Hand, second by Commissioner Sandelli. Any other discussion?
Just wanted to point out, I actually, the piece just to the north of this, when that came before us, voted against that. And obviously, I was at that time concerned about seeing this crossover Burnt Store Road into the green area. I thought that the Burnt Store Road really served as a nice boundary. But now that we've obviously done that and taken that step, it does appear that this is now complementary with what we've already done. So that's why I'm supportive of today's measure.
Thank you. Any other comment? Anyone opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Our last case, number 4.
All right. Good morning, Katie Wellner, ASP Principal Planner with Lee County. This next case is a privately initiated text amendment to the Lee Plan. It's case CPA 2023-00012, also known as the Babcock-Lee text amendments. So the applicant is requesting text amendments to 4 areas of the Lee Plan. Policy 1.1.15 regarding the new community future land use category. Policy 29.9.1 regarding the new community future land use category in North Olga. Policy 29.9.2 regarding commercial development in the new community future land use in North Olga. And then note 19 of table 1A regarding the allowed density of that area in North Olga. So the proposed amendments increase the residential density from 1 unit per 2.5 acres to 1 unit per 1.9 acres, but decreases the number of allowed total hotel rooms from 600 to 250 in the new community future land use category within the North Olga community plan area. So this is the area that's outlined in red on the map, and it's the portion of Babcock Ranch within Lee County. The proposed amendments change 4 areas of the Lee Plan as previously noted. The first, again, policy 1.1.15 relates to the new community future land use category. I'm not going to read all of this. I'm just going to highlight where the changes occur. So these changes are to fix some grammatical issues and also to change the density allowances within Babcock Ranch. The second policies that the applicant is proposing to amend are policies 29.9.1 and 29.9.2, which just maintains the consistent density allowance references and reduces the number of allowed hotel rooms from, again, the 600 to the 250. The last change is in note 19 of table 1A. This again just maintains consistency throughout all of the density references for Babcock Ranch within Lee County. So the proposed amendments are consistent with the future land use element, including the applicable community plan areas. They are also consistent with the other elements of the comprehensive plan, and there are no objections from any of the utility or service providers for the increased density. This case was heard by the local planning agency on September 26th and received a recommendation of approval. We had 1 member of the public speak in favor at that meeting. So based on all of these things, the analysis in the staff report, the application materials, and the other applicable laws and regulations, staff recommends that the board transmit the proposed amendments. And that concludes my presentation, and we're available for questions.
Thank you. Any questions? Any public comment? Open up to public comment. Seeing none, I'll close public comment. Bring it back up to the commission.
I'll move approval, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second it. Motion is second on the floor. Any other discussion? Anyone opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And that's the last case before us. We're adjourned.